welcome back to another Models by Me review. This time unboxing Airfix's de Havilland DH-82A Tiger Moth. We're going to continue going through the various trainer aircraft. This is the last one I physically own, but I've got two more that I've borrowed for a quick video as well, which will be coming up shortly. What we'll do is, in the usual manner, we'll have a look at the outside of the box, followed by the contents, then the instructions, and then the sprues. A small bit of history on the Tiger Moth. It was first produced in 1931. Final production was in 1944, and was officially retired from RAF service in 1959. So that's not quite bad. That's not too bad. And on top of that, there are so many of these things flying around today. Guarantee you go see a biplane somewhere, and 9 times out of 10 it's probably a Tiger Moth or a Moth variant. Apologies, I know there's different moths like the Gypsy Moth, and I know Tiger Moth. I think I saw Fox Moth as well. I know they're all different variants, but don't ask me the differences because I don't actually know. If you do know, put it in the comments, please. I'm learning as we go along here as well, so if you do know the difference, please let me know. So, I'll tell you a bit of history on this thing. As you guess, because I've already said it, this is another trainer aircraft used by the RAF and various other ones, as you can tell, because there's Australian right there. Yeah, it was used purely as a trainer. It had a very impressive stall characteristic of being only as slow as 25 knots, which I'm sure that any pilots will know that is quite slow. So quite a forgiving trainer aircraft, this thing. Evident by the fact it survived all the way till 59. Like the other trainers, if the Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of Britain, happened in 1940... Whoop, camera's going weird then. Sorry. If the invasion happened in 1940, like the other two trainers that we already seen, I don't think the 504 had anything. This would have also been used for trying to repel the invasion. It would have carried a selection of small light bombs and was actually used as maritime patrol, ready to spot the invaders, or spot the invasion. So they would have mounted scythes on the wings to cut parachutes apart as they tried to land in England. So it was never implemented, and of course never needed. So then, let's go on and do the rest of this review. Outside of the box, so start with the front. So we've got Airfix's typical style of box at the moment. The brand right in the top corner and one corner, and the artwork on the other side. Quite nice that Tiger Moth flying across the countryside there. As per usual, it shows you the different variants on the side there as well. So you've got two. We'll have a look what those are in a minute. 72nd scale, model kit in various languages, and of course what the actual plane is. Right, let's have a look at the side here, which is the warnings. Must not be given to children under 3 years old in the various languages. Cartograph decals, that's good to see. There's the random barcode. OMB, recommended 8+, 0 to 3. Or do not give to under 3s. Side, I'm pretty certain the other side's the same as well. Same again, so you've got Airfix, 72nd. So if you're stacked on a shelf, like this, you can see what it is. And you got the box up specifically as well. And if I just flip it over just to see, yeah, that's the same as well. Right, this side. So we've got Airfix, a little bit of history regarding it. Over 7,000 produced and estimated over 250 still flying today. There was a lot of these things still around. Total pieces 42. I'm pretty certain the master I just did is also about that many as well. So there we go. We got de Havilland's Tiger Moth. So we got first example was up in Paisley, 1962. So it's after the RAF finished using them, but still evidently used by the Navy. And then the bottom example, number 12, local air supply unit, Karavu Airfield, Papua New Guinea. Apologies if I mispronounce that. So August 45, so that's after the war. The various paints you will need. That's the pilot. This thing comes with pilots. Not included. Glue, paints, more glue. So if you're in the part of the Airfix club, this is 1 flying hour and skill level 2. Okay, and the underside, a random sticker. Let's have a look at the contents. So, conveniently, it does not want to open. So, inconveniently, there we go. So we have the instructions. That also has an additional rigging guide in there as well. We'll have a look at that later. We got the bag with all the sprues in there. It's quite nice. Bag is quite fully sealed there. And then finally the decals. And those are quite nice as well. Good old instrument panels. Not a lot there, so there's a bonus for those that don't like applying the decals. Okie dokie. Instructions. So the front page we got the usual, so it's a brief similar to the side box, but here it does actually mention about mounting bombs. I'm locking the stand there. And then you've got French, German, Spain, and apologies, I do not know the abbreviation for SF, SV even. Specifications of the plane. So it's at max speed 97 knots at 300 meters, and yet stalling speed was 25 knots. So not that I didn't need to be that fast. Assembly instructions. All the icons. The red one's a new one. Indicates final location. I wonder if it actually appears now. Let's have a look. So we have, first off, assemble the cockpit. So we've got the 2 seats. Good old Humbo 78. Interior grey-green. Then the control sticks. And yes, this thing has pilots. And again, this man has no legs. Well, he's got half a leg. Now, important bit for this bit. So if you're doing the A variant, and we'll come on to that later, you need to cut out this section. Equally, if you want the doors open, which you might want to, display it on the ground so you can see the interior. You need to cut the doors off here, and then these are additional pieces, so don't worry about absolutely butchering the cuts there. And then glue the 2 doors on afterwards, on the side there. So that's interesting. And then the second bit, as you can see just underneath, or technically the 5th bit, you got to do it the same for the other side. Next page. Glue the cockpit in, as well as the 2 instrument panels. Of course, it needs 2 because of the pilot, or trainee and trainer. glue the two halves together. No, this one's already got the cut missing out the back, and the reason for that is step 8. It's this piece which you then glue into here. And what this, it's an additional bit for the tail section, but apologies, I did try and look this one up beforehand because I knew this kit had it. And I did try and look it up, but I couldn't see what that was. So if you do know, again, put it in the comments, because I'm curious why this is actually, the Tiger Moth was modified to have this piece on the end. Now the engine, this is a little bit complicated, this bit. So if you want to put the propeller on, there's a tiny little peg you've got to put through first. Use tweezers to try and like put it into the hole, and then what I tend to do is then use the tweezers to like hold it in place. A little double glue on the propeller and glue it in. Of course, if you want a spinny propeller, be careful with the glue. If you don't want a spinny propeller, then don't worry. Little air intake tank there. And then the exhaust. This is a bit of an interesting bit because you can see you've got to slide the exhaust into that little groove and then have all the tubes coming out, or exhaust vents, holes, tubes coming out the side here. It probably is quite easy to do. It just, you look at it and just go, eh. But nah, it should be fine. And then you glue the engine onto the front. That's interesting. That's interesting. The engine, okay, there's other ways of doing it, but the engine here is a separate piece from the main fuselage. Probably to make this bit easier, but equally, I wonder if that's like a clue or something. They intend to do like the other variants of Moths with like different engines. Or is this for the aftermarket range where you can get an aftermarket engine and then open up the cowling and stuff, so you can actually display like maintenance happening on this aircraft. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know whether that was a intended purpose or a side effect purpose of that, or side effect of that. Then we glue the lower wing on, and the upper wing, and I would assume that's probably the fuel tank hiding up there. So the stand's getting in the way of these instructions. Put the struts on, and then the fun part of any biplane, gluing the two wings together. Now, Airfix very kindly provide the struts nowadays with these interlocking bits in the middle. So all you need to do is just glue them in. Of course, you've already done that bit. Glue that one in. Glue the various holes in the other side, and then stick it together. Once this is all assembled, then you can remove these bits in the middle here. So quite a neat feature they've started doing. The downside of that, of course, is you then got to try and file away the excess. File out the excess rod in the middle that your clipper's going to get onto. Equally, I don't think you could use a knife because there's a good chance you'll slip. The knife will go through and then into the wing and leave a small scratch there. Tailpiece. The tailpiece strut and tail skid, I would believe that is. And the next page. Hey, there's the rudder and landing gear. Or landing gear struts, and then the tyres themselves. They probably are weighted, but I wouldn't honestly be surprised if they weren't weighted, because this is quite a light aircraft. Glue the windshields on. The front one's going to be entertaining with the upper wing in the way. And then the final piece, which now they tell you to remove them. Okay. So here's the Paisley Scotland one. So all over silver, matte yellow, black, and gunmetal. First of all, the various decals, and the decals. The decals are in the red. Yeah, is that what they mean? Okay. The underside as well. And then finally, the Papua New Guinea version, which instead of silver is matte dark green, but if we zoom in on it, it ain't going to focus. There we go. Approximate to foliage green. So I know it's a different colour. Mostly appears on the Australian aircraft, but there you go. Now it's out of focus. Hey, in focus again. There we go. Even less decals on that one. Okay, and as I said earlier, it does come with a rigging guide. Push it upside down. So I'm not quite... I both do and don't like what they did with these, because they're a bit odd. So yeah, A, you can see there, which is those. B goes across there. C, which are these ones that come over to there. D is like inverted, and E is just an X on the end. Yeah, okay, it works. So I can see how it's done. It's just, I've seen other variants which are a little better than that, but it's there, it helps. And you notice it also says F there. There it is. You literally just go from... See, this is where it says, it's just like, whoop. It's like, it comes somewhere around here, and then you've got to try and guess where from here, though. So we can probably look up photos of Tiger Moth, and it's going to be the... you can probably see there's something there, if not on the actual model itself. And it just goes over to the rudder there. Okay, that's it for the instructions. Right, let's have a look at the sprue. So we'll have a look at the fuselage one first. Which overly, the detail, especially with these newer Airfix ones, the detail is really nice. You got the subtle lines for the door panels there. Got the air intake or something for the engine. Well, no, it won't be the air intake because that's right at the front. A bit of stitch work on the back here, and you can make out the framework that will be underneath. This is of course a frame and canvas type plane. Then we've got the struts, part of the cockpit, the top piece there for the top wing, one of the seats. And there we go. That weird piece that goes on the tail, said tail. Again, you can make out, there's a bit of a smudge there. But yeah, you can make out the framework underneath, which is quite nice. Tail wheel, all tail skid. So some of these did have wheels on them. And the other side of the engine. Well, not the engine, beg your pardon, the fuselage. The underside. So you've got some of the framework for like the cockpit section. You're not going to see anything beyond this. So they don't bother with this bit. And again, in front of here, you ain't going to see anything. So I don't know if you will quite... If you have the doors open, I don't know if you could see the holes from the other side. Yeah, quite big holes you need to drill. That's interesting. And equally, if you're going to cut this bit out, luckily it's all marked out. It is slightly thinner plastic, but that's a lot there you need to get rid of. So, here's the other side of the cockpit. So we've got that'll probably be the throttle lever there. So that's nicely moulded in there. Yeah, not too bad. Okay, and we're going to have a look at one of the wing sections now. This will be the lower wing. Yeah, lower wing. We have a set of the ailerons, which, yep, only the lower wing has the ailerons on. There's your doors. Landing gear strut. One of the seats upside down, and the wheels, which are... Nope, not weighted. Instrument panels on behind again. 2 control sticks. Pilots. Now, let's do the Jelly Baby test, but I can imagine these are going to be quite well detailed. Very shiny. I'm not... despite being a fairly newish kit, they look... Apologies, they do look like Jelly Babies. You can just make out the detail, but it is all like quite well rounded, like you would probably see on a Jelly Baby. Hence the terminology. Not overly impressed with those. I've definitely seen sharper lines on some models this scale. Right, so let's have a look at the instrument panel again. That's going to be the compass. That's sticking out right there on both of them. There's the wheel again. One of the seats. Doors from the outside, which you wouldn't see. The other side of the landing struts. They're quite nice. I wonder if that's the bell crank. So these were operated by like a bell crank, and there's definitely a wheel there you can see moulded. So yeah, I wonder if that's actually how that is operated. And they've have actually included the moulding for that. Even though, would that be? Yeah, so that'll be on the underside. So you wouldn't actually see that unless you're displaying it upside down or flying. But it's nice they've actually included that there. Okay, and the last of the grey plastic sprues, which has the upper wing on it. So again, detail there is not too bad once it gets in focus. There we go. So not too bad there. Some of the struts with a little bit of flash. Very, very tiny amount though. The propeller and propeller peg, which is... yeah, quite nice. Some more of the struts. Some for the landing gear, some for the tail control surfaces. The upper part of the upper wing. And the engine. So... can't quite make out. Oh yeah, you can just about see the groove hiding in. Let me get it more in shot. So yeah, you can just about see the groove that you need to put the exhaust, and there's the said exhaust into. Top of the engine cowling is not too bad. Yeah, nice little engine. And lastly, the 2 windshields, which I'm going to keep in the bag just so they stay fairly clean. While I was in storage. And yeah, they're quite clear. So, okie dokie. Final thoughts on the Tiger Moth. So, it looks like it's going to be quite a nice little kit to put together. Hopefully, trying to put the upper wing on the lower wing won't be too bad either. So I'm hoping going to be a good bonus. A bit of an odd choice of having to like cut away part of the fuselage there to put that tail section in. I don't know whether, I suppose the other alternate would be a couple of plugs, but then you're going to have a very distinct line if you don't file it away, or it's not, apologies, not formed correctly. So there's going to be a very distinct line showing, especially those that don't use filler or sand it back down again. So potentially, yeah, additional work required. So I see why they've done it, but equally it just, yeah, I see why they've done it. Again, that's for that weird additional tailpiece at the end. Again, slight illusion because it does actually show another have a tail wheel, so they're maybe doing more boxes of these that do include the tail wheel. But equally with the engine being separate as well, so are they going to do alternate engine variants, or, as I said, any aftermarket pieces? So that's, yep. Comment below, have you actually made one of these? Is there any like traps or anything to look out for? Something that is deceptively easy in the instructions, which it really isn't. If you've flown one of these or been in one of them, are they a joy to fly? Please hit the like video and subscribe for more. I'll see you on the next training video, or training aircraft video. Thanks, bye.